Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the MonsterZ Ethereal podcast. So, before we begin, my condolences for everyone that has been affected by Hurricane Florence and, you know, will be affected later on throughout the week and whatnot as it goes on. Let's let's take a moment to I guess to be lucky for being alive and not being affected if we've been lucky enough. All right, that's your moment. All right, so um this episode or this week won't feature any monsters or any fan suggestions or anything like that because last week I realized what I forgot to do. I forgot to talk about like the theories that so this week's gonna be completely lore or fan lore and whatnot for MonsterZ slash Etheria. So where do I want to be? So since we're gonna be reusing the map, we have to give it a new purpose. So the new map, which will be I guess will be called Etheria, will be a different planet than the one we're familiar with. It's not going to be Earth. So, the question is, are we humans? And if so, is it going to be Earth-like? If not, well, then what's going on there? So, I'm gonna go on gonna go. I think it's gonna go on a tangent and say that we are humans, but it's a long time ago we were dropped off on this planet as game. We were meant to be hunted by which will become in my vision will become the Ethereals, which were there. So it's similar to like Predator, not the first one or the second one, but like 2010 one, in which they were dropped off on the Predator's game world to be hunted, and then each year or so they would drop off more humans to get hunted. So it'd be something like that. So our humans would be dropped off to Etheria to be hunted by the Ethereals, and in exchange, the Ethereals wouldn't invade Earth and destroy it. So how this would work pretty much is the first couple years, humans would be hunted by the Ethereals and it'd be a blood sport. Um, it'd be a blood sport. They'd all die. There'd be no survivors. No one on Earth besides a select few would know about this existence. Okay, so we get to like 20 generations of this occurring. So in our time, it'd be like the year 2,300, around there. So this is now in our time now. So in our time, we have we've been having this event been going on for the past 300 years, and no one really knows about it. It's like select few, and it's a World Cup secret that keeps humanity in check. So they're about to send a new batch of humans to Etheria, and instead of like having well trained and it'd be a variety of well trained like warriors and criminals. They decided to send researchers. A majority of the group they send here is researchers, and each group is always like 20 some people, anywhere from 20 to 30 people. So they dropped them off on Etheria, and within the first couple weeks is like 3 weeks. Like 10 of the people were already killed by the Ethereals, and no one ever survives seeing an Ethereal. So every time you saw an Ethereal, you died before you could tell anyone about it, and no one really knows what their like targets look like. So, well, not their targets, what their predators look like. So what we have here is like pretty much a game of cat and mouse, except you're a mouse, and instead of it being a cat, it's a saber-toothed tiger with unknown powers. So, extreme cat and mouse where the odds are never in your favor. So, reason why I bring up this specific batch. So, this specific batch, it has a man we're gonna call JG, or we'll talk about JG in a later episode. So JG is the only person in this group that actually knows why they're on that planet. JG JG knows who the Ethereals are. JG knows about this deal, but the reason JG's on this planet was because JG pretty much murdered a person. Well, it's not like he's not really so. It wasn't really like criminal. JG was set up, and we'll get into that later on. We'll explain how he got set up and who he got set up by. So JG's on this planet, and JG's not trying to die. He out of everyone, the majority of people that are there to explore, JG's main focus is finding a way to record Ethereals and the life forms on this planet to be able to like best learn how to deal with them. So he doesn't really like do anything much for those first couple weeks, but he's taking in everything he sees with like keen observation. Oh, he sees this plant's dangerous, memorizing that. Oh, and when they stumble upon like a dead body, they're remembering what the dead body looks like. All right, so for instance, say the one dude a specific acid pattern on his body. They're gonna remember that acid. They're gonna remember that acid. Oh my God! They're gonna remember the acid. They're gonna remember the acid patterns on his body. Okay, they're gonna remember that because he's gonna have certain acid colors on his body that will be used for later times. So it's about 2 months in on the landing, and there's about 12, maybe a dozen people left, and one of them being JG. So JG, while in a group of 6, they're in a group of 6. So JG and like 5 other people are walking through what appears to be a savannah, or pretty much a savannah, and they hear a large tremor in the far distance, and so they all decide to stop moving, and they're just standing there. And next thing you know, so I guess the best way to like imagine this is, for those that have seen Star Wars, the giant worm on Tatooine, so the Sarlacc, just imagine one of those just bursting through the ground, like breaking the ground apart, and on all these guys, they all see this, and they all immediately start to run. So they're all running from it, and before the pretty much the giant Sarlacc breaks through from the ground, it just disappears in the dust. And JG memorizes this and realizes that that wasn't an actual being. That was some type of form. That was some form of energy. And while they're all still running, JG's just standing there, just taking that all in. He's all hesitant, and we're gonna call. So another one of the survivors, we're gonna call Lucy, runs and tries, like, tugs on JG's arm, tries to get him back, and more of these Sarlaccs are just shooting up on out of the ground. And imagine, like, although it's not like an actual like linear wall, how in the patterns that the Sarlacc shoot up out of the ground forms a wall, so you can only see a specific part. And from that, JG spots the first Ethereal. He spots the Ethereal for the first time ever. He spots Magu, and him and Magu lock eyes with each other before Lucy snaps him out of it and gets him to run along, and they're just running for their lives. And as they're running, like, two of the other people die from the Sarlaccs because JG remembers all this stuff, and he knows now that this energy can kill the people. And although the people die, this was never before seen like death pattern. Like none of the other dead bodies resembled anything like this. So they're running, and they get to a point where they're in this cave, and on this cave is pretty much cave paintings. Yeah, blah, 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 oh god, caveman. No, shut up. So it's pretty much cave paintings, but instead of it being like useful information, it's like a prophecy. So it shows the death of each body that they have discovered so far. And then after they get to where they get to a part where it's a picture of JG staring at Magu, and then it just stops after that. It's as if someone's telling the tale for them. So that they decided to set up camp there for pretty much a couple days, and after like another week or two, JG and hold on. Let me recall back. So while they're setting up camp, there's like 8 researchers left, and they've been on this planet for about 3 months. And since the since the drops happen every 6 months, they have pretty much another 3 months until they can talk to more people. So there's 8 people left. And the only 2 notable ones that you need to worry about are JG and Lucy. Right? So JG and 2 other researchers, well, they're not really researchers, 2 other people go out to get go out and get some supplies. They're out on Etheria, and they discover another body, but it was a kill that was also from the Sarlacc, so from Magu, and so Magu, instead of completely disappearing the energy, JG is able to find some of the Sarlacc residue, and he uses the skull of the dead body to store some of the energy in it. And you're like, oh yeah, but if he was able to murder people, how is he able to scoop it up? Well, shut up, alright? I'm getting there, alright? So, I'm not saying there's no not side effects from it. So while JG is, trying to scoop some of this residue up into the skull, some of it gets on his hands, and it leaves. Well, at first it burns really bad, and it's well. So let me finish it. So it doesn't burn bad at first. It just really stings. So he's like, it burns on my bones. I need the burn heal, but not as severe. And he doesn't think much of it though. And so he scoops up some of the residue, and him and the other two researchers gather supplies, and they head back to the cave. So at the cave, it's the 8 people. It's JG, Lucy, and the other 6 researchers. Well, not why do I keep and the other 6 survivors. And it was at this point where the accident where Lucy discovered a secret cavern inside the cavern. I know, right? Wow, what a plot twist! There's a cave inside of a cave. Wow. And it doesn't seem like it's much. It's just like a generic looking cave, except for one rock in particular. So imagine your cliche looking cave where it's like all the rocks are like a dark bluish black. Those are pretty much all the rocks. And there's one light blue rock, and it's in the wall. It's not at a height where they can reach it. It's like you have to be like 10 feet tall to be able to reach it. That's like 3 meters for metric users. So anyways, there's this rock in the wall, and so they don't pay much mind to it, except JG. And once he get close, when he gets close to the rock, his arm starts burning up, and it's not glowing. It's like burning up. And it's not reacting directly towards the rock. He just thinks, oh, he needs to get this treated carefully, immediately, but he needs to get it treated. So JG, goes back to the group, not paying much mind to the what's it called? He's not paying much mind to that wall thing because he's not trying to die. And so they get him all treated up, and he sits the rocks down. Well, not the rock. He sits the skull down, and near the hidden entrance of that secret cavern, and he gets treated for he doesn't get treated, so the burn starts to go away once they put on some special healing herbs. What they don't know is that the burn went away because he was away from that rock in the wall. But anyways, that's where we're gonna leave off on this lore background on the land of Etheria and the Ethereals and how this happened. So we're not, there was no fan monsters, no suggestions like that. It was straight lore, theories, ideas. Let me know what you guys think could happen next. What do you think JG's role what JG's role is in this, and what the Ethereals and Magu have to do with this? So let me know down in the comments below, and Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.